Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, Ahmad Sajoh joins us now. He's the Director of Press, Government House in Yola, Adamawa State. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
We're continuing our discussion on this national conference matter. But just before we go for the national conference matter, I mean, there was this sad story. We heard some people who were killed. We understand in Borno. After their wedding, they were going back to Yola, Adamawa State.
No.
What happened?
That was not the story.
What was the story?
What happened was that people from Borno State came for a wedding fatiha in Baza. Baza is it's a place in Michika local government of Adamawa State. And they finished the wedding fatiha. They were traveling back to Borno. They passed Madagali local government. They entered Borno State, passed Goza, passed Pulka, and they were almost at Bama, at a place called Firgi. That was where they were attacked. It had nothing to do with, it was not inside Adama territory. It was in Firgi. And, you know, even under normal circumstances, Firgi used to be the most fearful place on that road, even before this crisis that we are facing today. Firgi had always been a very, very frightful place. So it was at Firgi that they were attacked. And some of them were said to have been hacked to death, and some were shot with guns, including, unfortunately, the bridegroom.
What about the bride? The wedding was said to have been completed.
Yeah, you know, the system, you know, up north is that the wedding fatiha takes place involving basically men, and then in the evening, the family of the bridegroom comes to pick their bride back home. They don't travel at the same time. So expectedly, I believe the bride was not involved in the attack.
What can you tell us about the security situation in Adamawa? Because you do remember that some time ago, some students were killed, and it raised a lot of concern. What's going on now?
No. I think for now, one can safely say Adamawa has been peaceful. And you know, when we had this state of emergency, we believe it was politically motivated, and we still insist that it was politically motivated because if you look at the defense headquarters definition of the operation, is Operation Boyona, Borno Yobe, Nasarawa. All of a sudden it was changed to Adamawa. But when it happened, the governor said, look, okay, let's use it as an opportunity to fervently pray for peace and to also organize our communities. And for the first time, you know, we organized the community. The governor, being a naval person, says in the Navy, whenever there's a storm, they look out for the silver lining. And that whatever the problem, we should look for what is positive in it. And then with the traditional institution, particularly the Sarki Matasa structure in Adamawa State, we were able to organize ourselves, you know, into communities, begin to identify who is a stranger, who is a resident. We insisted that young people must have ID card. They must organize themselves into groups, you know, either trade groups or community association groups. They should own ID cards. They should begin to identify themselves properly as people living in the same community. And in the process, we were able to organize our communities. Then prayer sessions were organized in mosques and churches. And I tell you that for the entire period of the state of emergency, not one bullet was fired in anger by either the security agencies or anybody. And not one arrest of an Adama indigene was made throughout the period. So as far as we are concerned, it was actually a blessing in disguise. Because as I'm talking to you now, we are a more organized society, with young people now knowing they have responsibilities up to a certain point. You know, we began to respect the system, respect time, cooperate with the security agents. And I must tell you that we have great respect for the security agents that were posted to Adamawa State.
But, you know, he raised a very pertinent question, and the students that were murdered isn't...
Yeah. Well, the students were murdered, incidentally, was in my hometown of Mubi.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things that were not said about the murder of the students.
Like what?
Like the fact that the people went from house to house, knocked on the doors and called people's names.
Yeah, we heard that part.
And then, you know, if you are on the hit list, they kill you. If you are not on the hit list, they don't. So we have that. It raises a lot of questions, because the normal operations earlier on, there was also a similar operation where some group of people were mourning a dead colleague in his house, and they went there and asked everybody to lie down. Then they would just go and ask you to lift up your face. If you are on the hit list, they kill you. If you are not, they jump you. So these ones raised a lot of, nasty questions, because why would people who come on a terror attack begin to identify their victims? Is there more to it than that? And it also helped us in trying to reorganize ourselves.
Are you saying that we've not been able to uncover whether or not there was more to it than that? I mean, is that where the story still is? There's been no investigation, there's been no major uncoverings as to whether it was cult fight or,
Of course, naturally, there were investigations. This was the name of the security agents. And I told you that it helped us in reorganizing our communities, even before then. Before even the government of the Federation declared the state of emergency, the government of Adamawa State had done its own operation independently in Mubi. There was a time they gave us, if they put us even under 72 hours curfew, and then the security agents went house to house and flushed out quite a number of bad eggs, including the discovery of a large chunk of an arm catch and things like that, and it restored some element of confidence in the system, and it brought about some peace in the place. And I must tell you, we keep emphasizing, because for the first time there was serious cooperation between the security agents and the civilian population. We have an interface committee. I'm a member of that committee. Every now and then we meet with the representative of the army and the police, then the representative of the civilian population. A majority of the members of the interface committee are retired military men and retired policemen. And we sit down and they tell us their operational difficulties. And we tell them the complaints of the civilian population. And we hope that this interface committee will continue to exist even after the state of emergency, even after, and we're even recommending that other states should also borrow the same thing. If there is a military operation, let there be an interface. Soldiers will tell you that the best way to win an internal security operation is to win the hearts and minds of people, not necessarily to brutalize them or whatever. And in Adamawa State, I must tell you that we have, to a large extent, attempted to win the hearts and minds of our people. And I think that is very, very fundamental. And I think that, across the country, where there is a need for an internal security operation, the goal should be to win the hearts and minds of the people. Okay. So that people can cooperate and support the security operatives.
So are all the institutions of learning or higher learning open now? Because sometime after that it was shut.
All the institutions of higher learning are open except the universities. And the situation. Although I heard Mape talking about ego, I think the ASU strike has nothing to do with ego. It has to do with our ability to live up to our commitments.
Well, we're waiting on ASU to come up with a statement and see, because after that marathon meeting, everybody is hopeful.
Everybody is hopeful, but we should not reduce it to an ego trip. It's actually, something that requires a high sense of responsibility on all parts.
Which we're hoping that they've done that.
We're hoping that it's there on all sides.
Okay.
The ego should not be in it.